Whoa, now, y'all, what's happening with the world? Shamans and them file shop on the late night edition of the Negro News of Bamboozlement. Just gonna hop straight into it. Actually, did take me a few notes this time, just little points I wanted to cover, get off my chestule, if you will. Um, for those who have been asking, I appreciate the hype concerning the bamboozled again merchandise. Tomorrow I'll be finalizing my online store, working on concept ideas, and I'll let y'all know if it don't. But by the latest, because I'm gonna have the bulk of it done. I'm already mostly done, just a little fine tuning, and then I'll probably do another review to make sure it's up to par. And by the latest Monday, it should be up on the channel. Click links and all that. I gotta get privy to that because now I'm in a new space of the YouTube world, the technicalities and so on and so forth. Been getting insight on it, doing my due diligence, and it should be done Saturday. By the time I drop another video, whenever that'll be, it should be a part of the channel. And for those that want to support the movement of not getting bamboozled, I'm greatly humbled. Just for the excitement and um, it just puts me in a new space of creativity and producing. Well, what's going on, Zach? What's happening? What's happening? So I'm gonna hop right with that out the way, a little housekeeping out the way. I'm gonna hop right into just my social critiques of just current events, primarily in the Negro news. You know what I'm saying? And how I always have a polar opposite opinion of the typical rhetoric that's being spewed about. Um, of course, my man Shannon Sharpe made the news. I guess he got fired from ESPN and whatnot for his dealings with the young OnlyFans model, blah, blah, blah. Um, and that ain't even really what I'm seeing it as. I'm looking at the aspect of how all these different pundits are saying, oh, you retired a young white girl, but then told your daughter she only got 30K budget. You know, you created someone else's family's generational wealth. But that ain't really what I'm tripping up off of, though. And that is heir apparent. Another debacle. We've all done it, right? But what I'm tripping up off of is the fact that all the people who are saying stuff that are in his, industry, sports media and all that, all of them do the same thing. They just mad they didn't do it or couldn't have gotten it done. They all do it. Like if you join a golf club, you gotta abide by the rules. There's some commonality in the golf club. Y'all got similar hobbies, similar beliefs. Y'all just highlight the man for the same stuff y'all do right now and ain't got caught for. You know what I mean? Like all the people at ESPN, Joy Taylor and her sleeping away to the top, and you know what I mean? All this other crap. So now we're calling out, it's like drug dealers calling out another drug dealer because he got locked up. Your day coming. You've done the same. I can almost guarantee all the people are saying, he fumbled the bag. You about to fumble the bag because you engaged in the same activities and whatnot as everybody else. Oh, Zach, I appreciate the contribution to the channel, brother. I really appreciate it. You know what I mean? It just, we got the pot calling the kettle black. That's why I stay abreast of the news and current events for just awareness purposes. But I've totally detached and restricted my energy. That's why I'm out here at my oasis spot. Because again, I went through another bout of like spiritual heaviness working in the helping field of substance abuse and mental health. And I can only help people as much as they have a desire to better themselves and to be helped. And I feel like this society that doesn't necessarily promote healing, it promotes codependency on the pharmaceutical industries and these various practices, doctors' offices, mental health or whatever. You know what I mean? We're not really in an environment of healing unless that's the path you're setting out on personally, saying, oh, I want to heal, or I deserve to heal, not knowing what you're doing, but you're on a path thereof. You know what I'm saying? It kind of put me in a space of, like, am I really being effective? Sometimes I feel like I'm so healed by the grace of the Most High and the journey He set me out on that I feel a disconnect when talking to someone who I once was just like. Because the reality of the situation, a lot of times the truth will set you free, but the truth also hurt. Better the wounds of a friend than the kiss of an enemy. You understand? So if I say, yo, yeah, I understand what you're saying, I understand all that trauma, what you've been through, and I practice active listening. But the key is your behavior. I may want to get high, I don't. Because if a feeling is able to dictate your behavior, your feelings will always run you. You see what I'm saying? I didn't understand it until it just dawned on me at some point. So I might feel depressed, but I go work out, I read a book, I do things that uplift my spirit. Not, oh, I feel depressed, let me sit in that, and then do things to contribute to said depression. It becomes a reciprocal action. You know what I'm saying? Um, then I saw, I don't know how true it is, but then I saw Trump was talking about he gonna pardon the Giselle woman and Diddy if he's convicted. I don't know if he's convicted yet or not. I really don't care. Which, again, that is what it is. But he probably pardoned them because he engaged in the same activity as all of them. In Rome, that's the saying. What's the saying? In Rome, do as the Romans. They all do the same crap. Hey, what's going on, Miss Pearl? You might have missed the first part where I'm almost done. Tomorrow, I'll be finalizing my online store, finishing up the product or the t-shirt, various concepts, ideas, so on and so forth. So by the latest, it should be done Saturday. Then I'll probably review it again to make sure everything copacetic. But no later than Monday. And if something happens, I'll just tell y'all. Y'all be able to get the bamboozled again t-shirts. And here's another thing, what's amazing, because what I talk about bamboozlements of various things, right? It's actually, now as we fast forward in time here, the whole world and everything is bamboozlement. Pick a aspect of society, and it's bamboozling if you're overly believing in a purpose attached to it. That's why I've gotten into spiritual fulfillment. Darn what the world do, darn what I do and don't got. That's why, again, why I'm out here by the water, so I can keep my spirit up. I can keep oil in my lampstand. You understand me? Because I can't, if they choose to implode the economy, what I'm going to do about it? I'm going to continue what I have been doing to make sure I'm all right. You know what I mean? I don't care nothing about none of that stuff no more. But I figured that's why Trump did all that. But what it's saying to society is it's almost psychologically, subconsciously condoning freakism and sex trafficking at a high level to the average common human being. But if you do it, you go in jail. You see what I'm saying? Just like all the rappers who rap about selling drugs, they don't sell no drugs. They just tell you do it so you can go to jail, and they might get them a couple dollars for selling that idea to you. And it don't even make no sense. The vast majority of stuff that we, let's say in the Negro community primarily, idolize, worship, we didn't come up with that of our own volition. You know what I'm saying? They marketed that crap to us, baited us in, and now we see the detriment thereof. Typically, like anything they roll out to you is bamboozlement. Let's say, like the civil rights era. It was probably a noble cause in theory, but even if you look at the scriptures, one of the first things the Most High tell the people is, or tell the prophet to tell people, yeah, you be in slavery and you'll be in slavery for a while, but do not assimilate to their ways and customs. But that's what, civil rights did. It assimilated us into this society that we can't get out of now. The worshiping at the altar of fake fiat currency. You know what I mean? Over sexualization to the point where now we've over sexualized each other so much, everybody broken, but we still have a desire for companionship or affection, companionship, so on and so forth. So now you got broken people hiding their brokenness, getting a relationship with other broken people, and they're helping break each other. But the person who breaks the other one the best and the fastest, typically the woman, gets to go on about her business until somebody break her. I'm lost in the sauce with this one. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Everything crazy. Nothing make no sense. Absolutely, positively nothing. And I work for an entity that's affiliated with the Maryland state government, as I've talked about it nauseam on here, right? Even dealing with other state government agencies don't make no sense. What was that? The week before last, I was working with a guy to get him housing. And I had to think outside the box because every entity that I called didn't answer the phone during business hours and their voicemail's full. So I'm scratching my nugget. Yo, how is a voicemail at a business full at your place of business where you're trying to make money at? So then I said, you know what? I'm going to just pull up on these people during business hours and nobody's in the office, but everybody's getting paid and I ain't seen none of these people, walk around homeless. How are you getting paid to do a job and then get mad if somebody asks you to do what you say you do, but don't do it when you go to work. Man, I'm trying to tell you, boy, we passed the point of no return. There's no callous for error. Man, shucks. Then I've been seeing a lot of some more manufactured dissent out from the top, the puppeteers, as I like to call it, between foundational Black Americans and other ethnicities. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, right? I guess what they had, like the Cincinnati Brawl or something. But here's what I'm saying too as well, right? Now I don't know all the particulars of it, right? But every time, especially here in Babylon, primarily us, every time we rise up, we always get demeaned for not accepting bad treatment. So I'm just supposed to let you do me any kind of way. You're supposed to be the aggressor, and I ain't supposed to do nothing. But if I get aggressive with the aggressor, I'm wrong. And then you got the coon Negroes who, let's say, want to make sure they're on the side of the system and calling out black people essentially for defending themselves. Sometimes I'm sorry, y'all. Sometimes I be at a loss for words trying to articulate insanity. This country is basically an insane asylum that's still functioning because of consumerism. That's crazy. Then we got the rapper dude. Here's another one. Oh my God, boy, with that. I got one of them New Breed shirts, not for sale. Here's a wild one, right? I think the brother he was a rapper. I'm not too familiar with him. He was from Florida, right? And his dad was an accomplice, I believe, in an unaliving, and got on the stand and testified against his own son. As if black fatherhood don't get a pass. But here's what's tripping to me, right? Now, again, as I talked about these gangster rules and whatnot that don't apply, they just applicable in lip service. So we're doing some gangster stuff. I'm bringing my son up in the game. It go left or we get caught, and then I tell on my own seed, and it really messed me up. What was that Mary J song? Said it's your child. Man, how do you, one, you're doing wrong anyway. Okay, we got caught, son. It is what it is. But then you get in front of them folk and throw your own son, your own seed under the bus so you can duck some. Whatever happened, you remember a time where you would sacrifice yourself or go without for your children? Now, where they say F them children, they wasn't playing. Anytime, like, one, you ain't supposed to do it, Pops, but, and I'm assuming, well, he still go to jail, so you the dude that told on your son. Like, how do y'all have a relationship after that? You done threw me in front of them peoples. You know what I mean? We gonna get through it, son. You know what I mean? None of that. He do you like that. It's so crazy how, with friends or just the social construct of our family units and whatnot, don't nobody get damn about nothing but themselves, like the word talk about. That's crazy. If anything, you supposed to tell them not to do it. You know what I mean? And then if you're on the gangster side of things, you supposed to say, oh man, we go, you know what I mean? Hey, we don't know nothing, I don't know nothing. But you telling somebody in the street, your home, whatever, one thing. But to do crime with your son and then tell on your son, man, that older generation, like Lord's will, for next month I'll be 43, right? That generation before us that was like out the Willie Dynamite Squad and Pootie Tang them, you know what I mean, where they started becoming womenizers once abortion became legal and all that. Man, them brothers that say you gotta figure it out on your own and pull yourself up by your bootstraps but won't give you no game. Man, they have done us a great disservice. And then my generation, I was kind of late as far as, having kids or whatever. We kind of spoil our kids so they can't handle nothing. You know what I mean? Again, we just messing up the next generation on behest of the system and getting rewarded. Okay, I don't get as much time, but y'all reward me because now I done sacrificed my child to y'all. How much longer must we endure this, yo? It don't have to me. It's just saying it. And that's why I got detached, because it ain't got nothing to do with me. It's just the state, even in super empathy, right? I'll highlight this, right? So the guy that I've been going to proxy war with the Jewish man that ran the job I used to work at that was effing up everybody or whatever. He advocated his position Wednesday, and I felt bad because I couldn't get my T-shirts out before he left town. You know what I mean? Because I had one with his picture on it saying "Satan #1 homeboy." This the same person that sent me a cease and desist letter for making YouTube videos. I did like a 4-part series, and I put in the title the actual name of the rehab, Avenues Recovery Center of the Chesapeake Bay, exposed, right? And just talk about now in the town I live in. Everybody know I'm telling the truth. Whatever. But they sent me a cease and desist for telling the truth or destroying an image that you don't got. You know what I mean? But again, we'll have grace and mercy and look favorably upon oppressors and victimizers and totally forget about the victims of this man's policy. man, it's crazy. And then my man Umar, let me get on Umar for a minute, right? I thank y'all for being here with me and just getting this off my chest, right? And I've done a few videos on Umar in the past. One, he claims to be a descendant of Frederick Douglass. I am from Talbot County, Maryland. That's where I went to high school at. Where Frederick Douglass was originally from. And we have never heard of no Dr. Umar nothing. We ain't seen him at no Elks Parade, frying no fish, none of that. So I knew right then he was lying. Basically using someone else's name to validate himself, right? So of course we know about the school, everybody, where the school at, you getting all these donations. Then I seen a bunch of content creators making videos about him saying he broke, they froze his accounts. Can y'all help him? This is like them corporations that sell you food that cause cancer, and then you at the checkout and they say, do you want to contribute to the cancer fund? It's so crazy how, now, by trade, I believe he's a school psychologist, right? So a school psychologist can probably command upwards of probably up to six figures a year. Why not just go back to work? Or why not, like say if you're still doing that, just switch your direct deposit, open up a new account in an LLC or something, and get your money that way. Why do we have to give you money, yo? Why? That's like me, right? That's like me asking y'all to contribute to me to help me make T-shirts to sell y'all. And these are the intellectual Negroes, yo. I wonder what we was like, yo, when we were actually in order, like during David's time. Like, what was the intellectual thought, or, I just, like, we've been in Babylon too long. And granted, even myself included, as I've tried to quite a few times and just accepted that this is where the Most High would have me at this point in time, we can't get out of it. This is no different than, let's say, Noah being led to build an ark, but he can still hear the screams of the other people, even though he's safe. You know what I'm saying? And then he done made his ruling. You know what I'm saying? That's above my pay grade. But God darn, and back to super empathy, right? Oh, and I was gonna talk about how it's actually, and the brother SRBG on here made a video about this, and I'm like, yo, that applies to me, where I've been bamboozled so much, institutionally abused, spiritually led astray, that I can kind of instinctually know when people are doing it without consciously thinking to that point. And now I become adversarial to them. So even under the threat of, like, court days, let's go to court then. But them pump fake tactics don't work, or scare tactics. Man, what you want to do, man? Because I know I'm standing on what's right. And I don't see it the way maybe others, and myself as well, status. I'm seeing it for what it is. You're nothing outside of your status. How they say, you ain't nothing without your homeboys. You know what I mean? Let's go to court. I don't hear nothing from them. Then former co-workers were selling me confidential emails of him asking them to change medical record, which is against the law. And then I would email the screenshots of these secure emails to the Lord office that handled the cease and desist that they sent me as a professional courtesy. Yo, tell your man, stop breaking the law, yo. I ain't hearing nothing from them. I like antagonizing bamboozlers, yo. I do. I'm diametrically opposed. And I did one of these temperament tests one time that was talking about how, for the most part, I'm easy going down for the very first round. unless some belief or principle is infringed upon, now we're mortal enemies. I was chilling. And it really don't have nothing to do with me. Again, watching the vulnerable, like Miss Pearl was saying, I had this justice, and I am a Libra, and I don't get all into astrology and whatnot, too far with it, but it is very fitting, and I am a very justice-oriented individual, even if it pertains to me. Like the time I broke my neck when I was dead wrong, drunk, crossing the road, and they told me I might not make it out, and I said, God, it's up to you, because I knew what I deserved. Ain't no sense of I'm going to do this, and I'll be better if you get me out. And actually, when he got me out, I didn't get better. I actually got worse. But he was working on the deconstruction of my life to rebuild it on a sound spiritual foundation. That's why now I understand endurance and patience now, because he was forming me in ways that didn't make any sense when nothing around me or internally or circumstantially was making any sense. He was teaching a supreme dependence on him, and now I see the benefit in now where everything is uncertain and it don't move me no kind of way. Yes, I would like to achieve certain things or ascertain certain things for myself and whatever my visions are, you know what I mean? But ultimately, at the end of all that, it's his will, and I'm cool with it, because his will has got me to this point. I didn't even know I needed to become this or have this level of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? So we never know when the economy may go belly up, or they may instigate civil war, all these bills they pass and that we can't stop, and we're not meant to stop it. But I don't care what they do. You know what I'm saying? I never seen, let's say, the disciples or Peter invite Caligula to the temple and have him speak. You know what I'm saying? At no point, render unto Caesar what's his, and unto the Most High was his. You know what I'm saying? I just got hit for a tax bill from like 2 years ago. That's like four. I'm like, where'd that come from? So I just give them people their money. You know, I ain't even tripping. Here, it ain't mine no way. I'm not attempting to store up my treasure here in this world. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't know if I want to say I understand it, but I'm moving in certain things that, like the word coming alive, and oh, that's what it means. You know what I'm saying? So now I truly understand that our whole existence on this world, or in this world, is a spiritual journey. To a connection to the most, or almost a proving ground of our spiritual state. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whoa, what's up, brother Rock? What's happening with it, baby? Oh, But I was just covering, if you're just coming in, I was just covering some Negro news, and how now I see, and this saddens me truly. Now I don't fool with the average Negro, not because I don't have love for my people. It's just unwise for me to fool with my people in the current state that they're in. And it's very I'm torn with it, you know what I mean? Because I'm the little kidness of my heart. I want to save everybody, you know what I'm saying? But in wisdom, I know everybody's not meant to be saved, and I'm fortunate enough to be in the spiritual condition I'm in now. You know what I mean? So let me be wise and keep oil in my lampstand, lest I cast my pearl before swine. But now I see why it's only going to be a remnant that make it out of this. And let's say, and I said this before, let's say, like, for whatever we talk about, you know, the state of black people, or even the system and what it's done to black people. If we move all black people to the state of Texas and say, y'all on your own, here's $1 million for everybody, we still wouldn't be able to we would still go right back into slavery or into bondage. Because what I didn't understand getting off drugs was there's a responsibility that comes with freedom. Like, even when, let's say, Israel was, you know, ruled rightly with the judges and whatnot and all that, it was their sin and their disobedience that led them into bondage. You see what I'm saying? I was thinking about this too, right? Now, I fashion myself an intellectual, right? But you can't intellectualize things of the spirit. That's why there aren't any, like, Hebrew philosophers. There's nothing to philosophize about. This is what it is. You do it, right? And I'm like, I was just talking to my man Rick right before I hopped on this live. And I'm like, yo, people are calling me wise now. Or they say they're proud of me, or they get inspired by the things I try and fail at and keep going, and so on and so forth. But I never consciously thought to become this. These things were added unto me, like the word say, to the best of my ability to be obedient to the word, not trying to understand it. Being a doer of the word rather than a hearer. You see what I'm saying? which then pushed me out of, let's say, organized religion. Not in legalism or preeminence or da da da, as it's almost like a relationship where, okay, like a husband wife relationship, right? Where I've been a bad wife and I've been fornicating with other idols, right? So I feel bad about now the other lovers do me greasy or whatever in the streets, right? So then the Most High come back and get me, right? And bring me into his house, right? Now I'm happy at first, right? But then I feel bad because then I feel like I don't deserve this good treatment. You know what I'm saying? But then he restored me, speak life into me, right? And now I'm kind of forgiving myself for, let's say fornicating spiritually, right? But then in what's the word I'm looking for? In admiration. That's what in admiration or just amazement of the character of the Most High. I just want to put a smile on his face. So let me discover what you like. You know what I mean? I can't do a whole lot for you, and you're not with me because you want. So just to show my gratitude. Oh, you like your chicken wings cooked that way? I'm just giving an analogy. Because the only thing I want is to see you smile. You ain't got to do nothing else. You know what I mean? That's just where I'm at with it. And I found that, watching certain, and it's amazing how, more so through YouTube, whatever I needed to know, I walked into it. Like, understanding who we are to a greater degree, honoring the Sabbath. Because I didn't know, like, keep the law, don't keep it. But I'm like, well, I might well keep it. And if I keep it and I'm wrong, then I'm still right. Because he ain't going, you know what I'm saying? Understanding his real name, understanding who I am. Even the spiritual warfare that I've gone through, it's like I got information and then I seen the test and then I could identify what to do in response to it. So the actual opposition from calling out the U.S. RAND organization, the Bone Queeshers, the Sisterhood, and the practitioner of witchcraft in the town I live in, actually, like David said, my enemies ran me to the Most High. You know what I mean? Because they're stronger than me, I'm by myself, or people support, but not like publicly or whatever. And then it forced me, or not, I want to say, it evolved me into fasting. It evolved me into more fervent prayer. It evolved me into giving up my will or what I want to see happen when I want to see it happen. You understand? Zach say, I missed a couple comments. Zach says it's now August the 2nd, 2025. That's another thing, bro. This week flew past. I'll be 43 next month. And the way time is rolling, in another 2 years, I'll be 48. You know what I mean? But the word does talk about time speeding up and him having to do that because won't no flesh be left. Because they're polluting everything. Which is like, here's what's so bamboozling, because Satan is the father of all lies and the OG of bamboozlement, right? He's lying even to the people that worship him, like them high elite people, them Rothschild and all that. He's lying to them. I've seen, and people do interviews about, let's say, like exorcisms. I don't know how true it is, right? But the demons think they're gonna win against God. How many times have they tried, like the Tower of Babel or this new surveillance system of a world government and all that? They think, how can something created beat the thing that created him? Like, he ain't gonna know what you gonna do before you do it. If that ain't pride and the destructive aspect of it, I don't know what it is, yo. I was just reading what Paul talking about being a fool and a bondservant for Christ, yo. I'd rather be a fool for Christ, and how I use the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, like the fact I'm still on earth. You know what I mean? But I'd rather be, because he's coming, I say, Yahusha is coming back to destroy all human wisdom and knowledge. Like Greek philosophy. You can kind of apply certain stuff of it, you know what I mean? But it's all circumstantial to the culture and time you're living in. Like, okay, hustle, grind. Here's one in America. Hustle, grind, get a whole bunch of money. But even if you get a whole bunch of money, inflation and bills and such, you're basically doing all this to keep the ship afloat. And then you burn out, now you have all these health problems. But you're hustling and grinding. Man, I'm not doing, I do what I'm supposed to do on a daily basis. But I don't think we meant, now you're supposed to work hard at whatever your task, but you're actually supposed to enjoy the fruit of your labor. The 40-hour, 9 to 5 work week, with inflation the way it is, with them manipulating the currency and all that here, it's to keep you on the corporate plantation, and you can't enjoy the fruit of your labor unless you go into debt, which puts you in another form of, it's taking you out of physical slavery. Now you're in financial slavery. You understand me? Yeah, as I say, the days will be shortened. To be honest, sometimes I wish, and of course the most high time, that's above my pay grade, right? I wish this thing just go belly up right here, right now, so we can all just see what it is, myself included. The slow suspense, the slow strangulation, the slow chipping away at people's psychology and their spirit. You know what I mean? Just like the frog in the water experiment. You know, he in regular water, you turn up to the max, he gonna hop out. Ooh, it's hot. You understand? But if you slowly, incrementally raise the heat, the way his skin's set up, he can't recognize the temperature change, and he cooks from the inside. Message, they're cooking us from the inside with external circumstances they're constantly bombarding us with. Whether it's, especially in the, what, here's a concept that I've never heard of in the ancient world: dating. They make up words to describe stuff that shouldn't exist. Casual dating. From my understanding, psychologically speaking, the more women or the more men a woman deals with, the harder it is for her to psychologically pair bond with one. That's why whoredom is rampant. And typically a nation falls that engages in rampant whoredom. So much so, you can't tell who's who, so I can assume they're all harlots unless they behave, not say behavior, back to behavior, behave otherwise. This is real on the battlefield. We're in a time, like, let's say you go anywhere else, for the most part that's not westernized, there's a vast difference. You can tell, between, let's say, I don't want to, just a regular woman versus someone who sells her body. You can just tell vibrationally how they dress, their demeanor, all that. Here you can't tell. You got harlots attempting to be wives, and you got wives attempting to be harlots. Just like you can't really tell, let's say in the Christianized church, if you take them out the church and put them and just mix and mingle, you couldn't tell, behaviorally speaking, vibrationally speaking, disposition speaking, who's in church and who's in the world. They all look the same. That's why I'm fooling them, because you can't tell. So I'm going to stay on the safe side and believe that the vast majority of people that I meet in the world are either of the world or they're subject to being manipulated and subservient to the world. Segue me, please. I know of 2 people personally, one professor, one I was in rehab with, who have ingratiated themselves to a certain social grouping, right? Now, I have personal rapport with these people, so I reached out to them and want, like, you're starting to look different. I talked about this on here. My homeboy don't even look the same in his eyeballs, and as far as I know, he hasn't relapsed. But you know how the words say, evil company, corrupt good character, to the point where people's facial features are changing, or their countenance, or their eyes. There's something else behind their eyes. You know what I mean? Brother Ralph say, facts, nowadays, you can't tell the difference between these folks. Shoot, depending on, let's say, especially if you go in one of these major cities like Baltimore, you might see something and can't tell if it's a man or a woman. This is, sometimes, it's still quiet moment. I'm like, yo, and I know the word talk about, is this really the reality that I'm in? And then on top of it, the words, when what they say, men will burn for lust one to another, and women one to a da da da. And even like I get a lot of like prison kind of. I got another one for y'all, right? Bamboozlement, right? And I get it for the purpose of maybe telling your pain of your story and highlighting it through YouTube and get monetized, so on and so forth. But I have a plethora of brothers. Now I'm not too far from the DC area, right? So I'm familiar with DC guys, the Moses we call them, right? Who, there's no like city jail in DC. Once you go to jail in DC, it's all federal, right? So I get a lot of content about like the DC, as they call them, DC blacks, the federal institutions, and how they're like really known and they stick together and whatever. but they're also known for being booty bandits. So like in the Negro community, right, we're praised if we go to the prison, right, to then either one become a victim of a booty bandit or a victimizer of another man's hind parts, yo. And then we come out and say, yeah, I was a thorough dude in there. But none of these brothers outside of the actual booty warrior that did the Boondocks joint. Now, let's say I see 20 guys do prison content and they themselves in prison. You mean tell me out of they're all 20, the law average say at least one of y'all either tapped some cheeks or got your cheeks tapped. But don't nobody tell that story. So all y'all made it out intact. Man, please. They set the jail system up to breed, like, maybe because we're the proverbial, let's say Hebrew descendant man, right? Anything to destroy our image, placing the woman ahead of us in society or on the plantation, buck breaking us, prison system after we get you sell our drugs or get you to shoot somebody look like you because he the enemy or whatever. And on top of it, how come we talk about how thorough these dudes is, they did this in this city and that, but I ain't never heard of them getting jiggy with the oppressor though. None of them. So basically, I'm a real man because I victimized other oppressed people for my own purposes. That means I'm a real man. I got a problem with all this, man. All of this. What about the brother who pick himself up by the bootstraps? Let's say he do some time. He get a trucking business going about his life. And he go to the kid or the school and tell the kids not to go to prison. To me, he more of a man than the man who come out telling prison stories glorifying the crap. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man. What's wrong with him? Yeah. That's like me glorifying alcoholism. Yo, wasn't nobody bigger alcohol than me, yo. I could drink 24 beers in a setting, yo. You know what I mean? How stupid did that sound? If that's because they say typically people talk about what they're passionate about or their life achievement. If your life achievement was being the man on D block, and then, I was the man on D block, but then after I got out, I made some videos about it, but now, I got a trucking company or I give back. I don't hear none of that. It's just people telling war stories of how we got bamboozled by the oppressor to sell his drugs so he could fund the war way over somewhere else. I got a problem with all this, man. All of it. It's crazy, man. Oh, and the brother, let's say some prayers out, right, for the brother. I believe his name is Julian. I think he's in the Atlanta area. Who in his backyard, and I'm gonna leave on this note, in his backyard, created, invented, and produced a machine that turned plastic into diesel gas. Seen content about him saying the page has been hacked or helicopter falling. Let's say a prayer of protection to the Most High Yah for that brother. And if I lived in the Atlanta area, I mess around, quit my job, and say, yo, I'm gonna ride with you on this, cuz. You know what I mean? And here's why. And this is the power of and this I think he's like 21, 22 years old. This is a young stunner, right? You know what I mean? Whereas though this man, whatever he got at his disposal and his mental, he created a machine that I believe he's going to get patented that could completely take down billion-dollar industries. So let's say it go to market, right? Citco, Hess, BP, all them, he could probably cheaper because he ain't got refined it, and he made the machine in his backyard. Or he could do like the Tesla man and just, put the machine or the schematics of it online. You build yourself. The global harmony, how you say that, is completely disrupted. You know what I mean? So do we now have to go over to the Middle East and fight for oil? If my man just made a machine and I can take some plastic bottles out the bay here and put in my machine and make me some gas, it changes the whole schematic or logistics of the situation. But I'm kind of leery, right? Because I've talked about this. Let's say it goes to market or whatever. Can prophecy still be fulfilled? Or what, they just changed the reason they figured, or they sell to you why they fighting over the Middle East. Like the man who makes the water-powered engine, he got unalived. You know what I'm saying? Like, or let's say Spartacus. I always use Spartacus analogy. If he takes down Rome, we don't have an America now, and then prophecy can't be fulfilled. But again, I done went down the rabbit hole with that one. Man, I appreciate everyone who likes, share, subscribe. I appreciate Brother Sack for the contribution. Of course, Brother Ralph, you my man. Miss Pearl caught me on a live jump. I'll keep y'all with the updates as far as again, to end it. I'm about 90% done. The t-shirts, the website, the links, and all that. I'll sit down tomorrow, finalize it, and then tomorrow night I'll re-go back over it. You know what I mean? Like check my own work like I used to have to do on school and whatnot. And by the latest, it'll probably be done Saturday night. And I'll probably check again, because this is like Frank Lucas and Blue Magic. I want to stand on this. You know what I'm saying? I ain't putting out no bamboozlement on the Bamboozle Again News Network. And on that note, cover your six. One love. Appreciate y'all for messing with your boy. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. One love, baby. Signing off.